Did it happen? Oh, we're live.
We're live. Welcome back to our Game of Thrones House of the Dragon after show. This episode is called King of the Narrow Sea. I'm Melissa. Welcome to my channel. I have Sailor Tortilla here, aka Adriana. And then we have Andres and their lovely Targaryen wigs for this very Targaryen show. And other people who have the blonde silvery hair. So I like to always start with a quick recap via my notes, in case y'all in the future want a little recap of the episode, and then we dive in with our ratings, and then we dive into the scenes and the characters and the story, what we hated, what we liked, blah 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 blah. Okay, cool, got it, good. Oh, if you like this content, share it with your Game of Thrones friends. Subscribe to the channel to make sure you check up on an episode review and recaps with us every single week, and hit the bell. If you don't hit the bell, YouTube will not notify you. Thank you, Google. Okay, cool. Okay, here are my recaps. So I'm calling this recap, if you are a taboo or a dark romance reader, this episode was for you. Okay, here we go. So we start out the episode and Rhaenyra is off somewhere. She has to choose a husband. There's lots of suitors. They're too young. They're too old. She is bored out of her mind. There's actually a murder that happens and nobody does anything about it. I thought that was that like dark comedy? I guess. And then Daemon comes back because he spot the Essos crab people. So now they have named him king, but he's like, no, I have bent the knee to you, my brother. I have come. Here's my sword. Here's the crown. He's being really cool and chill about it. We are finding out that Corlys is planning to wed his daughter to some lord in Essos. And for fast forwarding, we see, what's his name? Not Corlys. Criston is walking Princess Rhaenyra to her room, and then she sees something odd on her table. There's like some clothes and some weird directions, and she finds out there's a sneaky passage in her room that she goes down the stairs, and she meets her sneaky passage partner, which is her uncle Damon. And then he takes her around for a night on the town. People are having fun, drinking. They're having little plays. The plays are not really great for her because people don't want her to be the heir. And we're seeing that Otto was right. The realm is not going to stand behind a woman being chosen as heir. He said this to Viserys in episode 3, and we're seeing that being very true in this episode. This is a nighttime episode, and we're seeing Rhaenyra have her night, and then we're seeing Alicent. There's that cross-cutting. Alicent is being called and summoned to her husband's chambers to have sex. And then this scene, she is really, really checked out and not into this. Meanwhile, we are seeing Daemon taking Rhaenyra through some red light district in the King's Landing. He's kind of showing her, marriage can be more than a alliance for political reasons. It can also have physical pleasure. And he also is seducing his niece. So we're seeing Daemon kind of making out with Rhaenyra. And I think he obviously did plan to go all the way and like have intercourse, but it does not happen. He can't do it and he pushes away and then goes off to his mistress, Mysaria. But now this is kind of like awakened something in Rhaenyra, and she's like, you know what? I'm not gonna get it from you. Gonna get it from somebody who's available. So then in comes Criston Cole, who she seduces. At first, he's like, no, I can't. But then he's like, fuck it, I'm kind of into her. I'm gonna do this. She wants it. Okay. So then they bang. Finally, I get my hot affair. And then we see Daemon, who wakes up the next day to Mysaria. He is kind of being a dick. He's kind of insulting her, calling her a whore, and blah blah blah. And then we see a little bird being, first of all, okay, no, I have thoughts. It's fine. Otto is being told that they saw the princess out about in the town, and they saw like what she was doing with her uncle. And then so Otto tells the king, and Viserys does not believe it. He's like, how dare you? She wouldn't do that, blah, blah, blah. But then we see that Alicent is overhearing all of this. So then Alicent confronts Rhaenyra, and Rhaenyra denies having sex with her uncle. And it was giving me very much, bitch, did you fuck the man that I like? Because that's the vibe that I was getting. But I'm thinking, is it more actually of the vibe like you're ruining things for the realm? Like, I never really know with her. She's like a mystery to me sometimes. And then after that, we see we see Viserys confront Daemon. and Damon does not deny it. I don't know what's going to come out of his mouth, because I thought it was interesting, because like Rhaenyra denies it and then Damon doesn't, even though like they didn't actually have sex, but he lets the king believe that they did, because that was his chess piece move to kind of make Rhaenyra get married to him. But that is so not going to happen. And I think with Damon having the audacity to like actually admit it to the father, but Viserys still decides to do nothing. He does not punish his brother for doing this thing. And that I was like, WTF, what's it gonna take to like push this man? Anyway, and then finally towards the end, after all of this confronting, Viserys finally confronts his daughter about it. And I think it's never really like, he doesn't know what happened, I don't think, but he knows like something happened. Like he knows she wasn't innocent in it. So like he knows his daughter. He's not a complete fool sometimes. And then he tells her, that's it. I gave you the chance to choose your husband. You know what? I'm going to choose for you. You're going to marry Laenor. And she said, fine, but you need to do your job as a king. So then he listens to her and goes to Otto and fires Otto as his hand. Who will be the next hand? Who knows? And then towards the end of the episode, we see a maester bring some abortion tea to Rhaenyra. And that is how we end episode 4 of King of the Narrow Sea. Okay.
Plan B T.
So I want to ask you guys first, how do you rate this episode? Who wants to go first?
3 out of 5. It seems to be the baseline. I'd almost give it a 4. I'd say 3.5. I like the character stuff. No battles, just people doing stuff. I don't know. I thought it was good. I liked it. I was uncomfortable, but I thought it was a good episode.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 4 out of 5. I thought it was the best one since the pilot. There was no like holes or gaps. I was also uncomfortable. I really don't like the incest stuff, and I don't like that they always film it in such like a sexual way rather than more of like a dark. I think it should be a little more dark and ominous when there's incest going on, but that's just my personal preference. But overall, really great episode. It was tight the whole way through. And lots of development in the plot.
I give it a 3 as well. For me, it was like more setup, but it was a lot less boring than the last episode from last week. And we're just seeing more of the chess pieces moving and more character stuff, which I like. So I gave it a solid 3 as well. It was like pretty good. It's fun.
I would also like to retroactively deduct points from the last episode. I really, really disliked it. Whatever I gave it, it's a 1 now. That's all.
Yeah.
I'll stick with my 2.5 or whatever I gave it. I feel like that was pretty fair. This one, Melissa, I think I might have like some like a little different perspective. I don't know, maybe just from what I was gathering. Number one, I feel like I don't think Rhaenyra and Daemon had like full-on intercourse, but I think they got like a little more physical than like your recap implied. And definitely she straight up lied to Alicent about Daemon never touching her and stuff. And I think like for the most part, she's really lying, and she screwed over Otto by kind of putting that seed in Viserys' head that like he's just a total lying crazy person that's like out for power.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And
Yeah.
like the thing about the abortion tea, like I don't know how she just didn't just chug it the moment he closed the door. Like I know that they don't know who she had sex with, but like damn, like just I'd be like, praise the Lord for this tea.
I
Or
think
like,
that
does she know how babies are made?
I think they definitely think she just banged Daemon, basically.
Yeah.
But I guess the implication of that was that Viserys doesn't actually fully trust her. Whereas she kind of thought like she had completely sold him, because he trusted her enough to go after Otto.
Fire Otto. But I think he fired Otto more for the thing about his daughter at the end. This is like all in retrospect. He's like, oh, this whole thing with your daughter, I was set up. I don't think I think it was the daughter opened his eyes. I don't think he's wrong about Rhaenyra opened Viserys's eyes to kind of Otto's whole spiel, because like Otto seems to be a good man so far in the show, the way he's been portrayed, but I mean, this looks sus. I can't wait to see who's the next Hand of the King. I'm sure it's going to be a clusterfuck. It's going to be terrible, but like, yeah, let's go.
I think there's a lot going on with that, right? Like, I think some of it is like underlying suspicion of like how things keep working out for Otto, even though I don't think he's as like self-interested. I feel like it keeps lining up in a lot of ways where, you know, he's more interested in like the power for the duty of it. I think that's where him and his daughter have a lot in common. But the fact that things keep lining up for him, there's that suspicion from Viserys. But I also think Viserys might have done it like regardless, because he was so offended that Otto came to him with that news. And like just the imagery of it, like he wanted to get Otto out of there and be like, no, I'm going, like, publicly, the moves I'm going to make are that this was BS and I'm firing the people who told it to me. There you go. That's a good one to start with. Yeah. Otto.
I guess we're here. Well, during his whole like firing, I kept like waiting for him to bring, because he was talking about like, you self-calculated your daughter to get with me, basically, but he didn't ever really mention the whole like thing that we saw in the episode, which is Rhaenyra getting with her uncle, which they didn't have sex because he couldn't. So I thought it was interesting that he didn't ever like bring up that part of it though, but he still like fired him. And I'm not exactly sure. I don't know. Like, I know why, but I feel like he's having like a delayed reaction almost to the whole, like, you placed your daughter in front of my face, so I would marry her.
It's literally 3 years too late. But like, you're allowed to be mad, I guess, when you finally figured. Like, Viserys is like such a likable, unlikable guy. I feel like he's a bumbling king, and
people tell him what to do. He doesn't do it.
I understand where he's coming from, though.
I think on the one hand, he's like grateful for Alicent, but he's also skeptical of how well things have been working out for Otto. I think it's complex, and that's what I liked about this episode. And Viserys is a character. Yeah. I know I mentioned he was my MVP last episode. Probably won't be this one, but
yeah,
I like how complex he is.
Don't spoil who's your MVP. Well, let's take it character by character, since we're talking about him already here. Viserys Targaryen, which I've already mentioned, he's just kind of like there for me. So what are your guys' thoughts on his actions and his being a king and father in this episode?
I don't know I don't know where he's coming from. Yeah. What do we think about his wig? First off, his new wig, his little haircut.
The new wig?
Plus or minus. He had long hair. He has short hair now.
Are we talking about Damon? We're talking about Viserys.
Oh shit! All these dudes look the same. I literally
have the banner.
Don't even say anything about his wig. We'll talk about that when we get to Damon.
Viserys.
Hey. I think all of their hair looks kind of bad, by the way. Like, I don't like that they look like me, where all of their other hair is like brunette, and then they just have all of a sudden like silver hair. But whatever.
Talk about how they are still foreshadowing that this dude is dying. Not only is his arm messed up, now like during his sex scene, we saw all over his back. He's got whole bunch of things. Like, what is it? Nobody knows. These maesters are useless.
I was so disgusted when he pulled out the flaming sword and he was like, the song of ice and fire. It's like, no, stop that.
Stop keep doing that.
I want to hear about this.
The references. Like, do you know the fans' reaction to that last season?
Yeah. I thought what he was going to say is like, the prince who was promised. See, it says prince, not princess. Like, I thought that's where he was going with it.
So is the implication that, like, he doesn't want to, like, that he's already told her, and so now, like, she has to stick with her as heir? Like, is that what it is?
Like, that's what it looks reminding her of her destiny type of thing?
No, I think
I can't tell a 3-year-old a destiny.
Yeah, he's like, it's not just all these other things, but I already told you this secret that only people who take the throne are supposed to know.
Oh,
so yeah, he's like
he's supernatural.
Throwing that in there, and then yeah, he's throwing that in there, and then he like is also, yeah, he's kind of reminding her of her destiny in a way. That's a good way to put it, but also showing that his hands are tied.
Yeah, he's like, I already told you the secret. I can't take it back. You're my heir. Yeah. And then what else does he do in this
he took her into a brothel. He clearly
has like a loveless marriage, sort of. Huh?
She mentioned
you keep thinking of Damon.
Can you please?
Oh shit.
The banner says Viserys, or do my banners?
Can you tell what character is like more interesting to me? It's like, Damon, what's he up to? I can't read him.
That character by character, and he is the king, so we have to talk about him. What else did
he
I
do? I don't think his love is. His love is loveless, or his marriage is loveless. I just think that Alicent is over it. She's like, she's woke now. She's like, this is all I'm here for.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a good system that they have going in terms of they're good. They're good friends, but you can't. Got to take people's feelings into consideration.
He's an old, disgusting man with missing fingers.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Well, the one who opens the episode is Rhaenyra Targaryen, who is trying to find her suitors. First, it was a guy who was too old and too young. She's just not about it.
I like that young guy, right?
He had spirit.
The one who murdered the other guy, which into like, is there going to be a trial? I thought that was like played kind of weird.
No, that's just an honor thing. He said like, you're a whatever. I can't believe he called a little boy the C word, and I laughed. But
yeah, I hope that that we see that little boy again. I like him. He had spunk.
He did.
Rhaenyra, her secret pathway, I don't know if you guys noticed, it was the same one that Tyrion used to use when he would go down and say, here was the head of the big boy dragon. I thought that was cool. It reminded me of when Game of Thrones was really great.
Yeah, they like cranked up the music for that part too, as in like, remember?
I didn't.
And it looked good. I like the way the city looked when she was going through it. The outfits were a little much for me. Like one dude had a hoodie and she had like a straight up beanie, but like she looked like she was going to Coachella.
I just kept thinking of Princess Jasmine like sneaking out of her
it was very Aladdin.
Yes, it was.
And I also was reminded of like Bourbon Street in New Orleans, if you've ever been there. It felt like she was walking down Bourbon Street. Everyone was like smashed, playing music, doing something.
My favorite villager was the one without eyes. I was like, you want to see how you die? I love it.
Yeah, that was good. Reminded me of you. Something you would do. Rip out your eyeballs.
Probably. That's exactly what I would do.
So we've avoided it long enough. Let's talk about the incestuous scene in the pleasure house. Andres said something interesting. He said he wishes the incest scenes were shot, I guess, more like dramatic.
A little more dark and ominous rather than like straight up
romantic.
Like for the people who are into it. It feels like it's shot for the people who are into it. I'm like, okay, I guess.
Well, like because they are Targaryens and it's something that's so much in their family that's why it's not like a huge deal to them. That's why it's played that way.
I get that it's not a huge deal to them, but also, like we are us. And we're the ones watching it. And also this was like a big deal in like a negative way. And like we knew it as viewers. But if we're talking about the way it was
shot, I kind of disagree. I like that they had stuff in the foreground kind of obscuring all the titties. But there's one thing that I did think. In South Park, Butters points out that on HBO, they only ever show soft penises. And that remains true into this show. It's very frustrating. You got titties. And then maybe occasionally a little penises. Floppy one. They're non-threatening. Like, can they stop that, please?
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird that they shoot it for the people who are like into it. But whatever. I just try to remind myself that they're actors, they're not actually related. But if I'm really into it and I feel like I'm buying that they're related and then I see them start getting it on, I'm like, eh.
I did like that it seemed like go ahead.
This is where I think it's like helpful to watch inside the episode just because like they were talking about how like he's obviously kind of like grooming her, and he's using that as like a chess piece so that he can do what he does later on, which is like propose to the king, just marry her to me. But what he didn't expect, and which is why he couldn't bang her all the way, is because she gets excited by it. Like she's a piece in this game, but she's like, oh wait, you've awakened my sexual taste, and this is kind of like exciting me, which is why we see her after that, after he gets her hot and bothered and but like doesn't do anything, she goes and finds Criston Cole to get her satisfaction. So I think that's why
I like that.
Yeah, me too. I did like that too, because he just kind of like leaves her high and dry, and I was like, where did he go? Like,
but what's his name? Christian? He didn't say a single word that whole time. It looked like he didn't want it. It almost looked like he was going to tell her like it's going to take too long to take off this armor. No. They just sat there and like unbuttoned all the. They had like little.
So many chances to change their mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, just. But he looked so sad. It was like, okay.
The Kingsguard can't marry or like own land and stuff, but are they also sworn to celibacy?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But none of them do that, I'm sure.
Yeah, no. I said that. I was like, they probably all go to the brothels, please.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I like that scene too, because I feel like the women in the show historically are always kind of used as like these chess pieces, and that's kind of like a way for her to be like, checkmate, bitch. Like,
but the thing is, like, I had dread the whole time watching it. I'm like, don't you know sex makes babies? How are you gonna play that off?
I did think maybe there was a possibility she could get pregnant, but they took care of that at the end.
It was like,
well, she didn't drink it. We don't know. I mean, I don't know why she wouldn't drink it. She doesn't have any interest in being a mother. She like looks down on it, but
I think I think she'll drink it to get out of jail free card.
Just for drama.
I think it was implied.
Yeah.
I think she'll drink it as well. Especially since she knows the person that she did have sex with, nobody can ever find out.
But also, he has hair of black, which, if we remember, the baby's hair is going to come out dark, and then they're definitely going to know.
If she didn't drink the
abortion. I know somebody.
But yeah, I didn't expect it to go that far. So when it was happening on my screen, I was like, oh, it's happening? They're gonna do it? I thought it would just be like showing her a night on the town. Look, this is how people really live. But it's like, no, there was a purpose to this. Marriage is also about like pleasure. So that was interesting.
No.
Yeah. So we are speaking about this man here as well. He is an interesting guy. He continues to be interesting because he comes home and he's like, I bend the knee to you, brother. This is all for you. Why are you texting me, Adriana?
I'm sending you guys memes so we can literally discuss live. They're super funny. My memes are hilarious.
Oh my God. See. I love it. I love this latest meme. I'm just going to show it to the people because.
Yeah. And for the audio only listeners, it's an old woman just saying, be a slut, do whatever you want. And that's me and Melissa right now. Just go, girl, you do it.
You do it. I was like, girl, if he won't do it, you better find the other one that will.
And then like the whole time it's happening, Rhaenyra is like,
and then I guess this other meme you sent of this chubby lady saying, I will not let this night be tarnished by incest is me.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. So how do you guys feel about his move, almost trying to use his niece as a way to get in the king's court? How'd you feel about that?
Fascinated by it. I love that this character, you can't get a read on him. Mm-hmm. There's so many possibilities. Like he could be doing this out of just love, or he could be doing this for political gain. You don't know, and both possibilities are completely believable because he's just so strange. Mm-hmm.
I actually do think it's legitimately both. Like I think he's just like a classic Targaryen that like really appreciates their history and wants to make them like the most powerful like thing going on again, and wants to do like he wants that power alliance.
But also, if he sullies her reputation, he knows they're spies. Like he totally took her there so people could see her doing stuff.
Well, yeah, the whole time I was like, everybody knows Damon for sure, and they're like put two and two together.
I was like, girl, why'd you take off your beanie? People can see you. What are you doing? No.
Oh, he took it off. I mean, he just went like, boop, everyone knows who you are
He
now.
took her stuff off, or did she? I can't remember.
He pulled it right off her head.
I thought it was very unwise. I was like, what are you doing? People know who you are.
Because it was a plan. That's his plan. He didn't want to put a baby in her. He just wanted to make her look really, really bad. But also, they have like a natural relation. Forget about the actors' ages because that kind of really disgusts me. But I'm trying to look past it because I know she's
I
going
don't
to
think
get
she's
aged
that
up.
young.
She's supposed to be like 17.
In the
Oh,
show.
like the characters shows. Oh, like the character ages. I thought you said the actors.
No, I
was
did
like,
mean the actors. I know he's a lot older than her.
I
So
don't
I
know
try
how old
to.
he is, but she's like
I don't
I
want to
think she's
think
like in her
about
mid
it.
20s.
Really?
Yeah, I looked it up. I was kind of shocked.
Oh, well,
It's
she looks
because
like a baby.
in the show they look younger. So she is 22 years old IRL.
Yeah, little.
But how
younger
old
than-
is he?
Let me see right now. Talk amongst yourselves.
Okay, Matt Smith
I like
age.
the episode.
Google.
39 years old. Fuck.
Huh?
Yeah,
He's
that's a lot.
39.
39.
Yeah.
He looks pretty good for his age.
No, he doesn't look bad. It's just like,
Yeah.
anyway,
He's old. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I thought this episode was an absolute banger. I thought it was super interesting. Even like him and
literally.
his what?
I said
Oh,
literally.
banger. Him and his wife too. Like, I don't know what her deal is. Like, if she's just looking for stability, she picked the wrong family to like
The
be
wife?
under his protection.
His
What
like
girlfriend?
lady.
Oh,
His
Massaria?
lady.
We still haven't seen his
Massar?
wife, by the way.
Massaria.
Oh, I bet
is
she's
his
so
mistress.
ugly.
The mistress. The
Miss
veil.
Sorry? You think she's ugly? Oh, the
No,
his
his
actual
real
wife.
wife.
Yeah.
Because he said she's ugly.
Yeah, he keeps talking about what a dog she is, but
But she's from the Vale. Those people are hogs.
that's what they say. Was Catelyn Stark from the Vale?
She was, and I
Yeah.
wouldn't call her ugly, but
Her
Yeah.
sister was pretty.
So Missaria, what do you guys? She's only in like one scene today, right?
Yeah, but you mentioned her, so I thought that you wanted to say something, Age.
oh, I know that she was an Ex Machina and she's a great dancer. So I'm like waiting for
That's
something
right.
to happen. That was a great movie, by the way. But I want to know if she does magic. She looks like she's from one of the magic cities. Like she could be a witch. I don't know. I crave more of like interaction between them. There was that time in that one episode where like he put his head like on her chest and whatever. And it's like this is intimate. What's going on
Seems like
here?
they have like a true connection and like they care for each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and she's trying to like get a little more purpose, right?
It looks like she just wants like security.
But she doesn't want to have a child. Remember that. She said, I went to great lengths to ensure, which means she did some things in the uterus to make sure she ain't having no kids.
Magic. She probably had a shadow baby.
Maybe. She doesn't want to be used on the battlefield of like, heirs, marriages, and all that stuff. So pretty smart for her to protect herself in that way. Who else did appear in this episode? Alicent Hightower. I did mention because I feel like she seemed really upset at the rumor when she was confronting Rhaenyra, but I'm guessing maybe it is because more about like the protection of the realm and not like a romantic feeling towards Daemon, because I feel like I felt that during the first episode when they were both like at the tourney and it looked like he was kind of like flirting with both of them, but maybe Alicent is just more concerned about, like how everything appears and like the order of things for the realm.
Yeah, I think that's the constant I've seen with the character. She's very like rule oriented, like duty, rules. And I think, like I mentioned earlier, her and Otto kind of have that in common.
Yeah, but she doesn't always like it. Like she's alone, she's drinking wine. I think she's like low-key depressed. She's not enjoying sex with her husband. She was completely checked out of there. She's all about duty, but she's sad.
Yeah, I mean, like if you think about it, duty doesn't imply any sort of happiness. It's just like she's sacrificing her wants and needs for the good of something she thinks is bigger. But that seems to be the constant.
How much longer can she take? I feel like that's the thing that we're gonna wait for her. Is like she's gonna be like, she's like building it up, holding it in until in one episode, maybe in the future, we'll see her kind of blow up.
Yeah, she might snap and do something like rash or like kind of, from our perspective, maybe even evil. But I think even then she'd probably do it in the, like, from her perspective, out of like duty and like rules. I think all of the pressure that's weighing on her from like the fact that other people don't put that first might come back to like make her do something rash in revenge to those people who don't value duty and rules as much as she does. Does that make sense?
You think she's gonna snap?
Yeah, like if Rhaenyra and Daemon keep like,
because they're the rogues.
Yeah, exactly. If they keep being, if they keep being rogues and screwing up her kind of routine and structure, then they might have to be taken care of, and that might just be part of her duty to the realm.
I think she is gonna snap because I think that's gonna be something that's part of her character arc for sure. Now I'm like,
I mean, yeah, she's got to get a little more interesting. Right now, it's just like she's sad.
I just like the position that she's in, and she uses it to help Rhaenyra. Like, she could be an absolute just horrible person to Rhaenyra, but instead of like going to the king and like doing whatever, she like literally goes to her like, tell me the truth. Like, I want to make this work. Like, it seems like she wants to make it work. I feel like her feelings towards Rhaenyra are so genuine, and like Rhaenyra's been giving her the cold shoulder for 4 years. And this episode, they got a little closer, a little closer to each other.
Best friends, because she was like calling her sister, which annoyed me because I feel like we're missing conversations in certain scenes that like how was the rift and how'd you get back together? I need to know these things, but I won't because it was cut from the episode. But whatever.
When that was happening, I thought to myself, I wish that each episode wasn't years from the prior episode. Like, that's the kind of stuff that I need as well. I thought it looked, for us, I think it looked manipulative because we haven't seen their relationship too much. So it was like, sister, I did not get banged.
Exactly. I don't know if she's being genuine.
I do think it was manipulative because I think she was so cornered from like the fact that she did fool around with Daemon and not wanting anyone to know, that she was just like using everything she could, and she freaking straight up lied and went for revenge on the people who snitched.
That was pretty shitty.
I do think it was manipulative. Yeah, I think Rhaenyra was pretty shitty in this episode.
I don't think that was shitty because she knows this guy is spying on her to catch her doing something wrong.
I don't know that it's like, I think Otto does that. He's got informants everywhere for like everything. I don't know if it's specifically Rhaenyra. I mean, maybe it is, but that wasn't necessarily implied.
That's his job, though.
Exactly.
He's not the master of whispers, but that's his job. Also, I like that
and also it was the truth.
That too, and the brothel was called the White Worm, and she was spotted in this episode. So in a previous episode, something happened at the hour of the bat, and in this episode, she was spotted at the hour of the owl.
Yeah,
I love this. I don't remember this from Game of Thrones.
I don't remember,
but I love this. I love the time, the way they call it. This is new, and I like it.
Yeah,
and heard of that. I've only ever heard of the witching hour. Like, I never knew like animals had hours.
Because
I love that it was like
that's
such
an in-universe thing.
Oh,
I love that it was such like a he dropped the hammer. Like, he's like, it was the hour of the owl
at the White Worm.
And they were like, no.
I like that when
I'm taking Rhaenyra's like word for it. Because I was kind of like, because she's like, you're keeping this guy who has his own self-interest, which I do agree with her dad. Like, there's not been a council ever who don't have their own self-interests.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that makes sense. I forgot where I was going with this. So please go ahead.
Yeah, then she agrees to marry Lord Corlys' son, kind of as proof that like not everybody's out for their own self-interest. But then she goes right around and it's like, that's why you have to fire this guy I don't like because he told you that thing I did.
Yeah,
I feel bad for him.
You feel bad for who?
For Otto or Viserys?
For Otto.
Why?
I don't know. Back to Otto and Viserys. I just like their confrontation. I like when Viserys was like, if you're gonna go as far as telling me that she did these things, say what she did. I thought that felt real. These are the character interactions that I came for. I think that's why I like this episode so much. I'm giving it a 4. I'm changing my score. It's a 4. It's a 4 for
Awesome.
me.
I also gave it a 4. Yeah, I like how Otto in that whole conversation was kind of like, "What the hell are you talking about?" It was very genuine, and I do think generally he's authentic. I think he is by the book, and like I think he's his daughter's father. Yeah. So I don't hate him for coming to Viserys with that news. I mean, it is what it is. I think one thing that I've kind of considered that is interesting is like the people who are really in the know now know that Viserys fired his hand for coming to him with an inconvenient truth. And that means whoever is next in line to be his hand is going to think twice before telling him like the information he actually needs as king. I mean, if the writing is consistent, you'd imagine
Are
that
you
they'd
saying that Rhaenyra is
think
going to
twice.
get away with worse bullshit?
Possibly, maybe.
Could happen.
Well, the fact of the matter is, though, like Otto obviously wants Aegon as the heir, but he doesn't. Why isn't he just coming out straight and letting Viserys know this?
Because that makes him look bad.
He has kind of advised like in that direction, right? Like he's saying the realm would prefer it. Like this is the way it usually works. Like he is advising in that direction a lot.
And now
And-
Rhaenyra knows how the people feel. Like maybe that can actually happen now. I don't know. I know that this has to lead to like war somehow. This isn't going to be the happy Game of Thrones show, but like,
is it time for predictions?
No.
Yeah.
No. Okay. I thought we were getting there.
That's towards the end. Hold on, we're not done. Continue. What were you saying?
It was dangerously close to a prediction.
Finish your
oh no.
Were you predicting?
I don't think Rhaenyra is going to marry Laenor. I don't think that's going to happen. Like they're definitely like telling her she's going to do it, but she's not going to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a good thing for her to say in the moment to get what she wants, but that's much different from actually
Wait, it wasn't.
doing
Wait,
it.
I thought we weren't doing predictions yet.
You already predicted something, so now we have to do it.
Okay,
do you
we're
want to
predicting.
see how you die? I'll tell you how you die.
I think that she is gonna marry because
Laenor.
Yeah, because I mean, in that final confrontation with her dad, like he gave her a chance. She didn't choose the suitor, and then she went to town, and now he's like, you know what?
Wait a minute.
Marrying this guy.
Wait, isn't Laenor betrothed to somebody from the Free Cities right now?
No,
oh no, it was the little girl.
the daughter. Yeah,
he was going to, but now they're like, no, come back into the fold, come back so that our houses can both be strong.
Yeah. They don't want Essos to be like the powerhouse now.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go straight into a prediction. I'm thinking about like where the whole show is going, given the chess pieces that have been set up. I thought this was a really great episode. It generally would be qualified as a setup episode.
Yeah.
But a lot of things happened. Like there was a lot of plot development, and I think what I'm seeing is that I don't think Rhaenyra necessarily will marry this lord. Maybe she will just for political purposes, but I do think she's going to have some sort of affair with Daemon. I think that's going to kind of keep developing in that sense.
Not with Criston?
I mean, maybe she's just going to bang like everyone, but I think the Daemon thing is going to keep going. And I think it's going to be like a Daemon and Rhaenyra against Aegon and in some sense like the Hightowers.
I think that too.
That seems like the split that it's going to be like the rogues versus the realm.
The rule followers.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, like I'm telling you, the rule followers could get more like they could do some more devastating, like horrifying stuff than the rogues at the end of the day because they are so certain they're right. You know what I'm saying?
But how do you think, like, what's an example of them doing something more devastating?
Well, I hate to use this as an example, because everyone hates or a lot of people hate like how Daenerys ended up in Game of Thrones. but there was always like that was kind of a consistent thing with her character of like using violence to do what she thought was the right thing.
Killing bad people, yes.
Yeah, exactly, right? But then it kind of it should have been written a lot more in a way that made sense, but I think that's always where the character was going, is like, okay, you use violence to do like the right thing so often. What happens when you're wrong about like what the right thing is? Then you become like the evil person. So in that way, rule followers and like people who believe they're on like the right side of history can become really dangerous really fast because they're willing to do like an awful, violent thing to make sure the good of the realm is preserved.
Is that not what they call the banality of evil? Like a lot of people do really evil things in real life and in history. They just do it like it's their job. They're just like, this is how I get the outcome. And
Because
then
they
that's
always
how you
have,
end
like,
up with horrible events.
That's part of it too.
yeah.
Becomes routine.
Did you have predictions, Age? Did you say them already?
I miss the crab people. I wish that they would come back. I feel like they're going to get replaced by some other kind of big bad. The sea snake wasn't in this episode at all. I think the next one's going to focus on him and his family. We'll probably see the little girl. And I don't care about that part of the story. I want to see the queen who never was. I think she's interesting. But like every
Right, it
time they
feels like
bring up the
she's-
sea snake,
Huh?
yeah, she has something going on. She's interesting, but every time they show the sea snake, it's like a battle scene. I don't want more battle scenes. I like the talkie stuff. I think this was excellent. It was like just character stuff, just people having conversations. That's what I miss. I
like that stuff too.
Yeah, it's good, and I just don't want another 4 years to go by between episodes. I can't handle it, but it's probably going to happen. And
We know what's gonna happen. It's just like,
yeah,
when?
right.
We're probably gonna see
That's
them
House
grow
of the Dragon. It's not Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
It's different.
Eventually there's going to be a major time
Major
jump
time.
that I don't even understand how it's going to happen, but I'm looking forward to it.
I think Viserys will die, and then when that episode ends, episode next is like, and now we're grown-ups, and this is what has happened since he's been gone. Maybe.
Who knows, man? There's going to be some twists and turns. This episode gave me a lot more confidence. I will say that.
Yeah.
A lot happened. And
I found out something after the last episode that I think is interesting, though. Not a
Is it
prediction.
spoiler?
No, it's not a spoiler, unless they do flashbacks. But they did film a wedding scene between Alicent and King Viserys that they cut out of the show,
Yes.
apparently. Mhm.
And they also cut out a conversation between Alicent and Rhaenyra when it's like all the things that we asked for that were cut. They were filmed, but
are we gonna get like an extended edition of House of the Dragon? Oh my god, they totally are.
You mean like on
They're
DVD?
going to do it?
Blu-ray or something.
If they release
Blu-ray?
if they release those deleted scenes and they were really good, I'm gonna be pissed.
Maybe. I doubt it because episodes 2 and 3 were pretty like So like imagine what they cut. It couldn't have been that.
Sometimes they cut stuff that makes sense and is good.
Or, well, I mean, a wedding scene is like, if you think about a wedding, it's more like, okay, the outfits and whatever, but there was probably nothing going on. It was probably just showing the wedding. Like, no one died or anything.
Game of Thrones has a high standard for wedding scenes. I feel like if it wasn't really strong and necessary, you got to get rid of it.
Convo between Alicent and Rhaenyra, though. That's what I wanted to see.
Who was that guy who died at the beginning? Oh, I'm sorry. I totally cut you off with like a random thing.
And I was saying I was hoping also for one from Rhaenyra and her dad after he made the announcement about who was going to marry. But dying in the beginning, who died in the beginning?
I don't know that guy. He was an asshole, though. I
who's
liked
being a jerk
watching
to
him
the little
die.
kid. Red Wedding. Hi, everyone.
The Red Wedding was a sad wedding, Chris.
It was a high point of the show. I hope that the next wedding we see is just as eventful.
I think there's going to be some moments in this show that are.
There'll
never be a red wedding because you didn't see that coming, and now you're like kind of hoping for something like it. But there's going to be some twists and turns. I feel it.
twists and turns in this. So who is y'all's MVP of the episode? And Chris, if you're joining us late, please let us know your rating between 1 and 5 dragons in the comments. I want to know your thoughts. 1 to 5 dragons. Meanwhile, Age and Andres, who are your MVP of the episode?
I keep thinking about Damon.
It's a good choice.
Okay, explain why. This is how the show works.
I literally could not stop talking about Damon all
It's
of this
true.
episode.
especially when Viserys' name popped up as the character.
Yeah, who cares about Beardy? We want the other
Oh, that's
brother.
right. She
He's
kept
cool.
ignoring my banners and kept talking about Damon.
Yeah.
No,
that's
it's
a
because I
sign.
get them confused. They're completely different characters, but like I just don't want to talk about Viserys. He's old. He's got his Warhammer kit that gets bigger every episode. His model kit is huge now. It's like my Sailor Moon collection. Damon, I don't know. I just think he's mysterious. I want to know what's going on. I think, okay, the show has done a really good job of balancing show don't tell, right? Like if Damon had an episode, like a scene with his girlfriend or whatever, and he was like, this is my motivation and this is what I'm going to do, that would ruin his character. The fun is kind of thinking, what is his plan? What is happening? Viserys, we kind of know what Viserys is up to. We kind of feel like we know what Rhaenyra is up to. But Damon's like, I don't know. You had a crown. You gave it away. You gave him your sword. Like, is this for show? Like, do you mean it? What were you doing for a year? You were king of the stepstones or whatever. I don't know. I just
feel like you don't know his motivations, or you don't know like his end game.
I don't know his motivations. I know he doesn't like his wife. Mm-hmm. He seems to get along with his girlfriend. Yeah. He has gotten no one pregnant for some reason. Mm-hmm. He wants the throne, or he wanted the throne. He was upset he wasn't in the council. I don't know. I'd be mad if I was him too. That's all.
Yeah, I think he wants like I said earlier, the Targaryen dynasty to be more as powerful as ever, and I think he wants to be like the reason it is. You know, that's what I'm starting to get from him, and it kind of jives with the fact that he's been like the rogue prince, plus like he still like as pissed off as he gets at his family, he still like loves them so much because they're part of that dynasty that
he likes fighting.
It's all about pride with him. He's very prideful in that sense. Then, like he wants to see the Targaryens physically rule the world. So I think we kind of know his motivation in that way, but it's like interesting to see like how he plays those pieces.
But he definitely is complex. Like just when I think I know, he tends to throw me for a loop. So I could be completely wrong.
Surprised by him in this episode?
I didn't really fully see the incest thing coming. I mean, I know in episode 1 we talked about like their little moments where it was like seemed like something sexual was going on there, but that was, I didn't turn on the episode expecting to see Damon take his niece to a brothel, and
it was uncomfortable, but I believe it. And I guess that's the suspension of disbelief.
I always thought that they were going to hook up. I always saw it coming. I just didn't realize that.
I thought it was going to be when they aged her up, not this actress.
I thought it would be then, and not when she's still a child. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought there would be more of like if they ended up together, there would be more of like a strategy to it. This was like I'm sure, like you said, you saw the behind the scenes and there was still some strategy to it, but this was a little earlier than it felt like there needed to be a strategy, and it made it feel a little more just like purely sexual.
But when it happened, it reminded me of something Age had texted us. I remember in our group chat, I think you had mentioned why doesn't Rhaenyra just marry Daemon and have that be done with? And that's what like Daemon is also in your line of thinking. He's like, just give her to me.
Because how will that cause further civil war? I feel like that's a super solid claim. The only negative is that she wouldn't have, say to do anything. It would be him. But
I thought you said that she should marry the baby.
No,
she did.
Oh wait, I did.
Yeah, in the chat, but you're like she should marry one of those guys.
Yeah, she.
I say a lot of things because the baby can't have sex with her. She doesn't want that.
In our group chat, she said like later on, why doesn't she marry her uncle? And
I've been thinking about this all week.
Yeah. So like besides that, I think also because the king is trying to keep him away from having like that much power, like raising him up that way. because he's so, roguish.
But he doesn't seem as crazy as the other Targaryens that we've met
not
or
so
heard about.
Far. He's not burning people for no reason, so he's definitely tamer.
So,
he's tamer.
They probably get crazier and crazier the more incest continues to happen.
Well, so far, they have referenced Maegor in the show, like in episodes 1 and 2, because Maegor, I think, was the last Mad King. So far since then, everything's been like calm.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Okay, I will do my MVP of the episode. I think it was Rhaenyra. I think it, I that's an easy answer for me because you found out a lot about her character. Most of it you already kind of knew, but it like blossomed in a lot more ways. And I think her like moves at the end, they were pretty cutthroat, and I appreciated it because I've just purely liked her character a lot so far, and that kind of gave me like a little bit of like, ooh, that's nasty. That's a nasty move. So it made her start to get a little more complex for me as well. I really liked the scene between her and Alicent. I thought the actress did a really great job showing that like desperate lie type of like attitude. I thought she sold it really well. And then I, shout out as well to Otto Hightower. I thought outside of Rhaenyra and possibly Damon, he was also somebody that did great. And the acting in that scene where Viserys confronts him, I thought was really awesome.
Otto legit got called out for real things that he did, though.
Yeah, like what, 3 years later?
Yeah, kind of.
It's still true, though.
Definitely got called out for things that he did, but his intent got read into it a little too much. I mean, I think that might subconsciously be his intent too, but I don't know if it was his conscious intent for everything to work out the way it did.
My MVP is also Rhaenyra. I just feel like she had like a little bit more to do, and I think we keep seeing more of her personality and her taking a little bit more agency. Like in this Game of Thrones, so to speak, like the men obviously have more power and have to use what they can as chess pieces to gain more power and to protect their families and the realm. So I think sometimes when you are using some of the women as those pieces and they kind of like play the game as well, it's interesting to see that. And I liked seeing, I keep liking seeing her say something and speak for herself, whether it's taking her pleasure or telling her dad, this is what you need to do with your right-hand man. I'm really liking her character. And the actress's name, Millie Alcock. We're going to be sad to see you go because she's been really great in this show so far.
Is that the next episode?
Yeah. We don't know, right? We don't know when the time jump is going to happen.
We don't know.
Yeah, she's been really great. I hope the next one lives up to the standard that she set.
Yes. Last question for you guys. When do you think we're going to see Viserys die finally? Next episode?
Finale?
No.
I don't know. Maybe he'll get really old. Like maybe he'll lose his whole hand or something. Maybe it'll be really grotesque.
That could be like the moment, or maybe, maybe somebody like kills him. Maybe he just starts rotting away so badly that like people are just like, just get it over with.
Oh my God. What if he asks his daughter to do it out of mercy?
Yeah. Otto is like, Alicent, give him this tea.
No, I mean Rhaenyra.
And then all of a sudden he has an abortion.
She's being set up as like, remember the white stag or the white hart or whatever? Like she's being set up to be some kind of a mythical, Prince Who Was Promised got mentioned in this episode, right? And the legend of the Prince Who Was Promised was that the prince will kill someone that he loves with this mystical sword, right? Well, what if there are many princes who have been promised? There was Stannis, there was Jon. What if this is that? What if like they like believe it? What if they take that and they go somewhere with the story and she has to kill her father because she's being set up as like a warrior princess with like blood on her neck? She killed the hog. Like, what if he's the hog?
The dad?
What if she
I
has
don't
to
know, but I
slaughter him
like
for the
that.
kingdom?
I
I
like
don't
that
know
you finished
because
on that. What if he's the
Boar's head.
I'm not sure because I feel like something like that would be like the rule followers doing instead of the rogues.
Or what if he's
Um,
dying already? Like, what if he's just like, do your deed?
yeah, we'll see.
I would like to see it. I think that's fun.
Man, I don't know. It could be like a finale thing, and then the second season is. But it just seems like something we all know is going to happen fairly soon. It doesn't make sense to have that be like the pinnacle of the
Right.
season at all. So,
Yeah.
I think it'll happen probably within the next next episodes are 5, 6, and 7. I could see it happening within the next 3 episodes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. If there's like a year between episodes, you're giving him 3 years, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm going to say either 5 or 6. Hopefully sooner rather than later. Because I feel like when he dies, her claim will be so much harder for her to retain. So of course you want things to be hard for your character. So I feel like that has to happen before the finale. Like he has to die before then.
Yeah,
Do we think that
it seems like that's when
Well-
things are going to get really
bad for
like
her.
where we really don't know what's going to happen, because at least now we know every day that Viserys is alive, he is the king.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of controversy about what's going to happen after he dies.
Yeah.
I think the townspeople are going to get involved. I think they're going to be really upset.
I like those townspeople. Like I feel like in a way it was semi overblown, like how much they even care who the king is. I feel like mostly they're like, haha, look at how stupid this whole thing is.
You feel
like the way they make
heirs, like you feel like they don't actually care if it's Aegon or
well, I think they care from like almost a gossip like perspective, and the way they make fun of their own royalty shows that like they almost don't care about any of it to a certain extent, and it's definitely more important to the people in the like in line to the throne than it is to the actual people in the town. And I thought that was like kind of funny.
Are you saying that it's kind of sort of maybe like real life sometimes?
Yep.
Cool. Well, that was fun, guys. This is our longest show for an episode we all pretty much generally liked. So we'll see you guys next week for episode 5 of Game of Thrones House of the Dragon. Click the subscribe button, hit that bell so you're notified, and catch us next week. And let us know from the scale of dragons 1 through 5 how you rate the episode. Let us know what your thoughts are on the incest, on the more of the incest, and all that jazz. Hopefully I'm not demonetized for saying that word on YouTube. All right, say bye. Sing the song. Sing the song.
Bye.